The component to this moment is alive. Shut the door on it and just go ahead and fly. Get the vibe of desire and faith. Put them in your mental space. Always tell yourself to soar when the silence starts to roar. Elevate your broadcast with pride and aspirations. Your desires are visible to your inner creation. Do, believe, soar, be. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Poet Minor Podcast. I'm your host, Poet Minor. The topic for today is the tribal search to transformation. And here to speak on the topic is my special guest, Elder Reverend Janice Jones. Mrs. Jones is the president of ZAMI National Organization of Black Lesbians on Aging, North Carolina State Chapter. Welcome to the show, Janice.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you. Now we're going to get into your search for the tribe, but first, let's give the audience a quick overview of your life so far. I introduce you as Elder Reverend Janice Jones. If I remember correctly, you served as the pastor of Liberation and Truth Unity Church in Newark, New Jersey. So can you just give us a little short clip of your journey into the Unity Fellowship Church?
A short clip is that Unity Fellowship Church movement came to the East Coast, to New York City, actually, in 1992. And I joined that church. And 3 years later, Reverend Jacqueline Holland founded a church in Newark, New Jersey, Liberation and Truth Unity Fellowship Church. I joined her there, and my work progressed from trustee to clergy, to finally, not finally, but to becoming the pastor in 2005 when Bishop Holland retired from that work. And so I was pastor of Liberation and Truth until it was Liberation and Truth Unity Fellowship Church until 2012. And in 2012, Liberation in Truth and the New Brunswick Unity Fellowship Church merged. And we became Unity Fellowship Church Newark. And Pastor Kevin and I co-pastored. And I did that for 11 years.
So from 2005 up to when you left?
I retired in 2016.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So as a Black lesbian and in the Unity Fellowship Church, did you find any obstacles that you had to maneuver?
You know, I've been thinking about obstacles, and I don't know if I had obstacles per se. Ministry itself is an interesting profession, if you will, to be in. It was in Newark, New Jersey. It was very interesting because we were the first church to bring God and gay into the city. We were the church where LGBTQIA folks were welcome, not only welcome, but encouraged to participate and encouraged to be leaders. And so that in itself, it was, we were breaking down walls, you know, we were breaking new ground. And so I don't see them so much as obstacles as I see just starting a new way of thinking in the city of Newark.
Okay. And the congregants that came, I know one of the principles was God is love and love is for everyone. The congregants that came and the people that came, did they find that principle hard to accept for themselves?
Some of them did. Yeah, some of them did. I mean, you know, we have people coming from all denominations, all kinds of churches, and a lot of the churches they had been beaten up in. And, you know, they had been told that they were an abomination. And some of them grew up as little people, you know, grew up in churches and hearing those messages, those anti-love messages and those anti-gay messages. And so they came broken. And it was hard to believe that God really, loved us just the way that we are, because that's not what we have been taught.
Okay. You also retired, excuse me, from your job as a government worker, but at that time you were also a union activist. What
Mhm.
did you do as a union activist?
Um, so my union activism started, I was a civilian in the New York City Police Department.
Mhm.
And my activism started actually because when I got the job, when I became a civilian, it was most of us were young women, young Black women, and we were going into an organization, New York City Police Department, where it was mostly men and
Mhm.
mostly white men. And we basically, one of my first jobs as a 911 operator there was to replace those uniform officers on the phones. They were answering the 911 calls, and we were the people to answer those calls so that they could go back on the street and be a uniformed officer. And so it was not a great transition. And so we had to fight to be treated fairly. We had to fight to gain respect. And, my family always told me I had a big mouth. I talk too much. So I took that voice and, went to the supervisors and complained and asked for better conditions. And from that, I got involved in the union because it wasn't the supervisors so much that I had to go to because they were not doing anything, but the union was there to help us tread those waters. And so that's how I initially got involved.
Okay. Did you do any lesbian and gay activities once you started to join the union?
So I did, but that was not, I got in the uh, Lesbian and Gay Issues Committee, which was a committee at the Union of DC 37, more so because of my partner at the time, Regina Shavers. And so Regina was also an activist,
Mhm.
and she was working directly with the union. And it was a natural kind of marriage, if you will. So fighting for the rights as civilian workers and also fighting for rights and respect as LGBTQ people.
And this District Council 37 Lesbian Gay Issue Committee was the first of its kind back then.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes, it was. It's, groundbreaking, breaking the walls down, doing something new. So Regina and Julie and you.
Yeah, I was getting ready to tell people, I
you,
know, I
you
know
don't tell
you
people?
don't. No, I'm like, I'm doing a podcast and we're talking. I go, you know what? I need to let the audience know that I've been knowing you for over 30 years. And I'm
Yeah,
also one of the co-chairs of the Lesbian and Gay Issues Committee. And
absolutely.
I was involved in Unity Fellowship Church. So there you go, people. We know each
Yes, yes, yes. So we go way back.
other.
You know, yeah.
So, after you retired, you said you moved to North Carolina. You took a year rest,
Hmm.
and then you asked yourself, "What am I doing, and where's my tribe?" What did you mean? What am I doing, and where's my tribe?
So, living in New York City, being involved in Unity Fellowship Church movement, I was always surrounded by family, non-blood family, community, my tribe. I could always find somebody to talk to hang out with, to laugh with, to cry with, to pray with. That was like me, that understood me. I was accustomed to that. And then, like you said, I got tired. I retired and I wanted to be by the beach. I love the beach. So I envisioned me going to the beach and fishing and hanging out and not having to shovel snow. And I did that for a while. And then I woke up and I realized that my family was not there. I had my partner, my wife, Valerie, and we did things together, but we were in a community where there were not people like us, physically and emotionally. And so I started to look for more Black people, more Black lesbians. And so I was on a search. And in my small town, it's a search.
And how did you find Zambi Nobla?
So
Did
it's
sorry, you on?
Zam Zami Nobla.
Yes.
Zami Nobla, and Nobla is the acronym for National Organization of Black Lesbians on Aging. And honestly, I do not remember how. It was online because Zami Nobla has a great presence online. And so I was interactive with it online and communicating online and participating in some of the online programs that they did. And I got to know, more about what they did. And I was asked to be a board member of Zami Nobla. And now I'm awake and looking for something to do. And I was like, oh, of course, these are people that I want to be around, people that I want to provide programming for. And so I started to work on the national board. And one of the visions of Zami Nobla is to have state chapters in every state.
Oh, okay.
And yeah. And so I was like, well, hey, that falls right into helping me to outreach, find and share the mission and information about Zami Nobla in my own area. And so I had there were a number, maybe 5 or 6 women that I had met, and we were hanging out. We'd have dinner together, do things together. And I approached them, told them about Zami Nobla and the idea, and they agreed. So we formed the chapter in 2021.
Okay. And how many people you have in your chapter right now? Because you said
Right.
your community.
Yeah. So it's a state chapter, which, it's beyond my local town. We have 65 members, 65 paid members. It's a paid membership to the chapter. And I think it's about 65, which is great. I mean, once we organize and start reaching out, and we would have monthly potluck gatherings in different cities in North Carolina, and people would hear about it and bring their friends. It just grew and grew. So right now we're at 65.
That's so cool. So, in the states that you're in, do like once a year, do you all get together?
So we don't have a physical space. We get together every well, it was every month. This year, 2025, we started gathering every other month. So we see each other often. Um, but the goal is to travel to the different areas where women, isolation is a thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes we don't even recognize that we're in isolation. And so the gatherings, the potlucks are held in, we go to Raleigh, Durham, Charlotte, any area where a Black lesbian will host and invite their friends. And that's those of us that can travel will travel and we'll gather there.
Okay. Do you apply your ministry to being the president of your chapter? Does that come into it?
Um, you learn when you learn something, it doesn't go away,
Mhm.
right? It's so my union activism, my pastoring, my working in the church, I was a trustee in the church, all of those skills and information is with me, and I use them when I can and when they're available. People know me as Janice. I'm not actively working as Elder Reverend Janice. So when I introduce myself to Zami Noble, I'm Janice. And unless people look me up, most of the time they don't even know the work that I've done.
Uh, I know I looked you up online. I'm like, this woman got so many titles.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I call you. Yeah.
yeah. So, but I'm Janice. And it's so funny, like with all the titles that I've had and all the work, I've always wanted to just relate as Janice, because sometimes titles get in the way of relationships.
Mhm.
And I want to be in relationship with people.
I got you. So tell us, I don't know if you started doing your artwork when you was in New York or did it start when you retired? So tell us a little bit about your artwork.
My artwork gives me so much joy. Um, so it actually, uh, another thing that I do, I started volunteering at the senior center in my town in North Carolina. And maybe about 6 or 7 months later, they got funding and wanted to pay. I'm the receptionist, the front desk person, one of them, and they wanted to pay. And I was like, well, why not? I'm here all the time anyway.
Mhm.
And so I work at the front desk 11 hours a week at the senior center. And in 2019, the center had a gentleman come in and teach a paint pouring class. I didn't know anything about it. I actually didn't even look it up. It just sounded fun,
Uh-huh.
right? And I said to my boss, this is happening while I'm working, but I would really like to do this class. And, of course, she said, go ahead. And I did the class and I was excited. And I felt like the painting that I left with was amazing. If I was home, I'd be able to show you what that is. I still have it. But I just liked it. And I started to, he told us, gave us handouts and information on how to get the paint and what to do. And I went home and told Valerie, and she too was excited. And we began to experiment and do it. So that was November 2019. So what, like 4 months later, we were in the pandemic, the center is closed, and I'm at home and almost everything is shut down. And so I began to paint more at home and paint and paint. And I tell you, I was in that room for hours sometimes painting, didn't even realize the time had gone by. And I just fell in love with it. And I got validation and affirmation from my friends. They were very kind and they loved it. And, from there,
Oh, you were in the gallery. Wasn't your artwork in the gallery? I think I saw that online somewhere.
I was in, I meant to look this up because someone else asked me and I didn't remember. There's a gallery in Wilmington, North Carolina, and they had a showing where 700 artists from North Carolina, you were either living in North Carolina or born in North Carolina, would have the opportunity to bring a piece of their work, have an artist review it and give you feedback. And then it was exhibited for like 3 months. And I
Wow.
had a piece there. Oh my God. That was amazing.
I'm telling you, and you just started. Wow.
Yes, yes. Yeah. I had it's such a where I live, like New York is the same. New York is just bigger. It's where I am is concentrated. And so there's so many opportunities to join art clubs and art leagues and take art classes. And so I took a drawing class because, now I'm an artist. I want to expand what I do, right?
Yeah.
So I took this drawing class, and the teacher, I showed her my work, and she loved it, and she encouraged me to bring my work to that museum because
Oh,
I don't think I would have had the nerve to do it. She really encouraged me, so that was exciting.
yeah. So now
Yeah,
you have a website with your artwork on it.
I have a website. Yes,
I asked you one time or text you, where's the t-shirts? Because I like
so
your artwork, but I'd rather have it on a t-shirt.
it's coming. It's coming. So my website is artbyjanice.com. I have another site also that if someone is interested in seeing my work, I can send them a link and they get to look at it. It's sort of like an inventory site, but it's I like it better than the website because it's more directed.
Uh-huh.
And the the work that I do, I can put it on various things. So it's coming.
Okay, well then
The
I'll wait.
t-shirts are coming. I'm putting
I'll
it
wait for the
on.
t-shirt. Because I saw you had the coasters and everything. I was like, well, what am I doing with that? I was have a t-shirt. You know, whiny, whiny.
Yes, yes. You're not the only one.
Well,
You're not
before
the
we
only one.
go, can you leave us with some words of encouragement for the sisters out there who are alone, who's looking for their tribe?
So I think the first thing for me is to say and say it out loud.
Say it
To
slowly out loud.
Yeah, to say that you're looking for your tribe. Um, one of the what there's so much to say in a short time, but one of the things that I did was I connected with the white LGBT people in the area, right? And some of them became my friends. And the conversation I would have with them is, I love y'all and this is great. And I'm still looking for my tribe. And they understood what I meant. And
Uh-huh.
so they would, when they would meet another Black lesbian, or knew of an area that I might be interested in, they would tell me about it. I also ran into a real estate person and, was talking to her, a Black woman. When I would see somebody Black, I'm on it. And I had a conversation with her and so I mentioned to her, my wife, so she'd know who I am.
Mhm.
You got to introduce all of who you are in like the whole 30 seconds. And two of the people that I met, she introduced me to them. She was like, "Oh, I know somebody you would like to meet." you
Oh,
know, and she was giving, I said, "They don't mind you giving," oh, she said, "Oh, no." And I called the woman and absolutely we became friends. So it's isolation is real. And I think in order to get out of it, in order to find friendship, companionship, somebody to talk to, we have to make the first step, no matter how small it is, and don't give up. I'm still looking.
for a bigger tribe?
I'm looking for a bigger try because people come and go.
That's true. That's true. Okay. So say it out loud, be open, and get outside. Go looking.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes, yeah.
Thank
Because
you.
we out here. Your tribe is there.
Well, I'm gonna go look for my tribe because you know I got complaints. Thank you so much, Janice, for being on the show. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. You're welcome. See
Okay.
you soon.
All right.